Good morning, Murfreesboro. This is John Guess with Murfreesboro Live with Rob Mitchell, the property assessor. And we're broadcasting from Paul Bunk's right on the square. We started a little bit late this morning. We're sitting around the nice wood table here on the floors, meeting different people in Murfreesboro, and it just seems like I sent a text to Ken, who usually starts the show, and I said, we're on Murfreesboro time. So we'll get right into some of the information we've been talking about. And I'm hoping that it doesn't, the lag I can see now on the screen, it will right itself part of the show, or when after Google and YouTube fix it, maybe it'll be less. Like a silent or one of those foreign films with different languages
Right,
dubbed
where you
in.
move your lips and then some other word comes out.
Yes. So, Rob, tell us a little bit about you and the property assessor's office.
Well, the property assessor's office is charged with appraising and assessing every parcel, piece of property in Rutherford County. We have around 110,000 parcels that over a 4-year period of time we inspect and appraise each parcel for our 4-year reappraisal. The values that are set during that period of time will generally hold for the 4-year period until the next reappraisal, unless there's an appeal at the county board level over the valuation. And at that point, if there's a disagreement in the value of a piece of property, the county board will make a determination on if there should be an adjustment or if the value that the assessor's office places on the property will hold. What a lot of people don't know, the assessor's office has nothing to do with property taxes. That's the trustee's office that sends out the tax bills. It's the county commission or the city council that sets the tax rate that will be applied to the properties. Every piece of property has a value to it. All we do is determine what that value is. And then each taxing jurisdiction determines if they want to have a property tax and what that tax rate will be.
And on that, the last show went, and I'll just spill the beans. Technical advisor was me, so it didn't go very well, so we deleted it. But all that being said, appreciate you coming back. One thing I heard and clarified, when I think of I'm getting taxed on my whole property, if I think my property is less, we're not taxed on the whole property, we're taxed on a portion.
Just a portion of it. Tennessee is what is known as a fractional assessment state. You have two components to your property. You have the appraisal, which is what its value is. And then you have the assessment, which is the portion of your property that you pay your taxes on. Residential property, if your home was $100,000, only 25% of that value would be assessed for taxing purposes. So you would only be taxed on $25,000 of your property value. Now, if you're a business, then you would be taxed at 40% for your real estate or 30% for your tangible personal property, which would be for a business, that would be cash registers, shelving, computers, that type of thing.
So when people say my house isn't really worth $100,000, it's only worth $89,000, it doesn't really affect the assessment value that they'll be taxed on as much.
No, it's the amount of dollar change is usually very minimal because of the fractional assessment. The difference between a valuation of $100,000 and $110,000 When you take on the fractional assessment, 25% of $10,000 is $2,500. Is that right? Yeah. You have to do quick. Come on, antihistamines.
Yeah.
So my math may not be good, but it's 25% of the $10,000. That's not that great amount of money. Most people don't realize how the property taxes are placed on it. Your rate of $2.48 in the county, that's per $100 of value. So for every $100, you pay $2.48, and that's only that 25%. So it's not that great a burden. We are blessed to not have a very heavy property tax burden. There are some states, Nebraska, on a $100,000 home, you're taxed at 100% of the value of that property. They're 100%. There are homes out there that on a $100,000 home, they'll be paying $4,000 a year in taxes. The state of Florida is very heavily taxed.
I was going to say we live in West Palm Beach County.
You're familiar with how you're taxed down there.
I think our property tax and insurance, and this is 15 years ago, was more than the house payment.
That's very easily true down there. So when people say that our property taxes are too high, it depends on what you compare it to. When you compare it to other locations in other states, what we are actually able to deliver to the citizens of Rutherford County for what taxes are collected, I think is very, very affordable. The County Commission has done a very good job in maintaining a low property tax rate. When we appraise properties, we're not overly aggressive on going out there and trying to make sure that we want to make sure that the valuation is fair, but we don't want to be overly burdensome and overly aggressive on what we value something at. We want to take the taxpayer side, the property owner side. It's always better to err to the benefit of the property owner, because we all live here, we all pay property taxes, and we're really not out there trying to run a bill off or run an assessment.
And I jumped right into that because that was something that really struck me, and we've been talking about that off and on with several people, that they didn't understand it, nor did I. How the property is taxed, assessed, and how that all comes together, what the value of your office, or most of us in one way think the treasurer and the trustee and the tax assessors are like dentists or IRS agents. But really, if you get down to it, they're not. But that's an educational or perceptional issue instead of a reality. So that's one reason I appreciate you taking time out of your day so that the public can learn, as did I, the value of a property assessment. And yes, we're both on medicines, and I'm sucking on a cough drop. It probably will be like a.
It's winter in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
But we can wait, I think, till tomorrow when it's going to be 67 degrees.
And that's why we have these head colds.
How long have you been a property assessor?
I've been a property assessor for 2 years. My background is in the insurance business. I owned my own agency for 15 years. I retired my agency and gave that up when I was elected to fully serve the citizens of Rutherford County. It's a full-time job. It's a very important job, and it's probably one of the most technically difficult positions in all of county government, because there are so many different issues and legalities that have to be known. It's not somebody comes in and signs a piece of paper and you take money from them. We actually have to go out, inspect, have a great deal of knowledge. Most assessors, I'm working toward my AES, which is an appraisal with specialist degrees. So there's a lot of education that goes into it, and there are with mass appraisal, it's different than individual appraisal. I'm sorry if I tend to be bouncing around here. I just tend to get excited about this stuff.
Well, I was going to ask you about some of that, so that's good. But when you get done with that, last time we talked a little bit too about how you're reducing the cost of running the office, and then we did get a ride in one of the two hybrid vehicles, and I've never ridden in a hybrid car until a month or two ago.
They're great.
And it was weird not hearing anything. You started it, we went around the block. So that was pretty neat.
John, one of the things that coming from the private sector and being a small business owner,
Excuse me.
it's ingrained in me to look for better ways of doing things, more efficient ways of doing things. So, first thing that we did when I took office was I reviewed the staff positions, reviewed the organizational chart. We made some changes. We reorganized the physical structure of the office. We renovated and changed and adapted some internal procedures so that it would be more efficient. We used technology where possible to increase our productivity. We're actually operating on or below the same budget that we had 15 years ago. The county has grown threefold, but our operational budget is essentially the same budget, and we've been able to achieve that by being able to make our people more efficient when they're working in the field. Very proud that we are the only county in the state of Tennessee that can actually assess a property live in the field. What normally has to happen is when you have a parcel, you will have to go out and download the parcel fabric from our CAMA system. CAMA system, that's computer-assisted mass appraisal. I'm sorry for the acronyms. But that's our software system that stores all of the appraisal data on every parcel in Rutherford County. So what we will do, in the past, we would download the parcels onto a laptop in each area that an individual appraiser would be going out to review and work. Now, when the appraiser would drive out into the field with his laptop to review those properties, if he found something that was new that he did not know about, or if there was a difference on a piece of property that he saw in his area but wasn't on his parcels that he had downloaded, he could not do anything to that until he had come back into the office, downloaded that parcel, and then gone back out into the field. So that was 2 trips that he would have to make, or she, in order to accomplish the task. So by making some adaptations to our systems, we now work live in the field, live on our system remotely, so we can log into our computer via the laptop. When they go out to work their parcels, they don't have an hour of download time in the morning, and they don't have an hour of upload time in the afternoon where they have to upload it back to the system. So that is 2 hours of downtime per day that we have saved. It's now per each appraiser. That is now productive time. That's saved over $60,000 a year in lost man hours. They would just be sitting there doing busy work while they're waiting for their parcels to upload. So we can now work live in the field. So if someone discovers, because discovery is part of our job, to discover changes, new parcels. Someone discovers something that has been altered or changed, they can now immediately make that change in real time and put it into the system.
Now, is it change like if someone gets a swimming pool and puts in a fence and a driveway, or does what?
It could be anything from putting a new porch on, putting a swimming pool in, expanding their driveway, building an addition. Fences, believe it or not, in Tennessee, fences are not assessed. We will note that they're there, but they have a zero value in residential property. For business property, if you're a commercial entity, the state of Tennessee says that we do pick up commercial fencing. But residential fencing, it doesn't matter if you have a chain link fence or if you have a 6-foot tall brick and wrought iron fence. It will still have a zero value for appraisal purposes. Wow. Seems odd, but that's one of the quirks of the legislature passes, and we just obey.
Thanks. I think my medicine's running out.
Medicine's running out. So you also asked too about other things we do. We have saved over the last 2 years. We have cut our budget, which is by about $750,000. Now, that's real dollars. We made our best estimate on what we thought it would take to run the department each year.
Now this is man hours, copy paper.
It's man hours, it's equipment. Essentially man hours and equipment and operational procedures. If we can find a better way to do something, if we can enact something that streamlines a process, we save money because we're more productive, we get more done with fewer man hours. So over the last 2 years, we have returned to the county general fund $750,000.
Now I have a question on that, and we've talked off the air in different places, and I'll play devil's advocate just for a second. Some people may say, well, why don't you keep partial of that, a percentage, and do something else with it, and then return what you don't need, where you can look at it a little bit differently.
Now, if I don't need it, I'm going to get it back. It's my money as a taxpayer. So I'm a negotiator. If I can find a piece of equipment and I can negotiate the price down, which is what I've done with some of the purchases, I was able to cut the price of one equipment purchase 2 years ago in half. Just through being in the private sector and knowing how to negotiate. If we can find a way to do it and save the taxpayer money, that's what I'm going to do. Now, if there's something that I believe in zero-based budgeting, so every year I will put down and believe I'll meet with all my department heads and I'll say, what do we need to make things more efficient? Is there anything that we should have that we don't have? And then we will project what our needs are going to be for the next year. Now, if they tell me we need a piece of equipment, I'll look at it. I'll see if I believe we actually need it or we don't. If we do need the equipment, then I'll find a way to get it. I'll put it in the budget. And then in the negotiation process, once I've got my budget approved, when it comes time to purchase it, I'll find a way to get it for cheaper than what they originally offered us. There has not been anything that we've purchased in the 2 years that I've been there that I've not been able to get a substantial reduction on the initial cost. And I'm very proud of that because that's money that doesn't go into a tax increase.
Now, we've had different people on from the counties and cities. Some are hired, some are appointed, some are elected. For those people watching the show this morning and listening to the coffee being made in the background and the rest of us.
It smells good.
Yes. Are you elected, hired, or appointed?
Well, I'm elected, and that's kind of being hired, the way I look at it. I'm hired every 4 years by the citizens of Rutherford County. They can either choose to hire me again for another 4-year term through the election process, or they can choose to fire me and pick someone else. Every 4 years, the property assessor is elected at the same cycle that the presidential election runs. So we go on that 4-year term. There are no term limits in Tennessee, with the exception of some counties have term limits. Of course, the governor is term limited to 2 terms. In Davidson County, I believe they have term limits up there, but currently for constitutional officers, there are no term limits in most counties, with the exception of, I believe, Knox County and Shelby County have term limits on all of their offices. In Davidson County, the only office that's term limited as far as a constitutional office is the office of mayor.
So since you're elected, are you involved with different organizations within the community as well, other than just doing your job? Is there any other thing that you participate in?
Oh, I tend to get involved in more things than I probably should. You go where there's a need. I'm on the Middle Tennessee Veterans Mental Health Council, which we meet at the Galveston York VA and at the Nashville VA. And that's trying to find solutions and answers to help improve the quality of life for our veterans who have returned home with mental issues from their time in combat.
The Fisher House, interrupting you real quick, is very nice up there.
Oh yeah,
That was Andy did a good job of getting that in.
the Fisher House is a great addition out there to the VA for people that have family members that have either long stays out there or are at the end of life, and they need to family needs a place to stay and live while they're transitioning.
Do you think the property assessor, register of deeds, trustee, sheriff, mayor, circuit court should be political offices?
No, I don't think there's really anything political in any of those offices. Should be no partisan politics. At our levels, we are administrators and managers. And aside from being efficient and effective managers, there's really no politics involved. You do what's right for the citizens, and what's right for the citizens is to give them the best quality work that you can at the least expensive cost. And that's strictly management and administrative.
Some people would agree or disagree with that. They think, well, in a perfect world, that would be great. This is where we live there. We'll keep it political. Like you said, and we've talked before, a lot of the things that the different offices do at the county level are only within the state constitution, which comes out of the national.
Right. We don't. I was lecturing at a government policy class at Cumberland University, and the example that I used was a railroad. When a railroad is built, someone goes out and acquires the property. The assessor would not be that person. I'm not that person. Someone determines where the route is going to go. I'm not that person in a railroad. Someone would decide what time schedule the train is going to run on. I'm not that person. Someone would decide what type of locomotives are going to be purchased. I'm not that person. Someone that manages the train and conducts it to make sure that it gets from one spot to the other on time and on schedule. That would be the person that I am. I'm the manager. I'm the conductor. I make sure that what that train is supposed to do happens when it's supposed to happen, and does it in the most responsible economic way possible. And that's really what all of the constitutional officers do. They manage. There's really no partisan politics involved in it. There may be differences of opinions on how certain things should be done, but the end result is running an effective and cost-efficient government. Now, when you get to the state representative level, where you're actually determining laws, possibly. That would be the first level I would say some partisan politics might come into it. But even at that, you're representing small portions of a community, and if you're really representing your community and your neighbors, how partisan can that be? How partisan should it be? I don't know the answer to that.
And we could probably chase those rabbits all day.
Forever, and never get anywhere.
It would be I think it'd be a good conversation, because also my opinion is if people are doing it that way, our government would do what it's supposed to function. Anyway, and so you talked about you're on the mental health board, and now it's the people. We've got the VA, or Veterans Affairs, part of the VA, Veterans Affairs on one corner, on Memorial and the Company Road, and then there's the state home next to it.
Right.
And some people get the two mixed up. They're both veterans homes, but one is run by the Fed and one's run by the state.
Right. The Tennessee Veterans Home is a nursing facility and that's state operating. You have the Alvin C. York Medical Center that has a nursing home component to it, but they're operated totally separately. And the only thing they have in common is that there are veterans in them and they occupy adjacent pieces of land.
What is the address to the property assessor? What are your hours?
Sure. We're at 319 North Maple Street on the second floor. Our hours are from 8 a.m. in the morning till 4 p.m. in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. The first Saturday of every month, we're open from 8 o'clock until 9. Doesn't cost the taxpayers any extra money because the building's there, and the only person that's usually there is me and another supervisor, so we're salaried, so we're getting paid either way. So if you need to see us, there'll be somebody there that can answer your question.
Well, I've got to give the person who answers the phone in your office credit. Today I called before 8 o'clock. It was fairly close. And she answered the phone so nice, so politely, and before 8 o'clock. Most people that I work with in most businesses, whether it be government or civilian, they're not going to lift a finger before the right time, whatever that time is.
Well, as soon as OIT turns their phones on, we pick them up.
Well, she did very well, and she's always very polite. Forgive me for not knowing her name.
That's Connie. She does a great job. Just an excellent job.
She is very courteous.
And she oversees our 2 art galleries up here. A lot of people don't know, but we last year on November the 22nd, we instituted the first ever public art gallery in a county-owned building. And we did it in partnership with MTSU's Todd Art Gallery. It's the Murphy's Galleries. It's dedicated to the Murphy family. We have Gallery 1, which is the lobby off the elevator, and Gallery 2, which is in the antechamber right to the left of Connie as you come in the front door to the main assessor's office and turn left. We have a gallery over in there as well. That's Gallery 2. Generally in Gallery 2, we will have community art from a local artist in the community. Right now, Diane Stockert has an art exhibit over there. In Gallery 1, we generally have artwork from the students at MTSU. exhibiting over that way. So everybody should come by if you like art. If you don't like art, at least there's something on our walls. And come by and visit it. I believe, John, it's a public building. We own the building. And if we have artists in the community, rather than go out and spend money to put artwork on walls and spend taxpayer dollars, we should make it available to artists in the community to come in and decorate their walls and show some of their talent. We have very many talented people in our community, and we should celebrate that. So that's what we're trying to do.
And as we wrap up the show, I do want to, if you don't mind, take a left-hand turn. But I do want to thank Rob Mitchell for his time today as property assessor. And I do, well, there's been nearly 10,000 views of the different shows we've done. So I hope this leverages some of your time and makes your time valuable, and you can refer people back to it. And again, I'm hoping that after it's reviewed and however the Google people and YouTube, smooth out some of the lip sync issues. But we were going to start it. You were here early today, and we were going to start a little bit early, and then we met some people in here. We started talking, and Paul Fox has been very cordial and very, very nice to us, letting us use the space. And it's also nice that when Rob was here, he was giving out other information to different people that walked through the store, introduced me to somebody else, and everybody that had come in, very well liked and well received.
This is a great place here. I appreciate you allowing me to be out here. And I've been told I'm not a normal politician, public official. There's one person in the community that if I could model myself after, that would be Mr. Ted Beatty, who is the county trustee. They recently suffered a tragedy, and I don't want to go into too much detail with it, but if there's one person in the community that I could say I would like to be like, I would like to emulate Mr. Ted Beatty. He and his family are wonderful people. I can't say enough good about them, and hopefully you'll have him on here soon. Just appreciate it if everybody would keep his family in your thoughts and prayers.
Yes, and I was going to end with that as well. And I think that's a good way to do it. But I think you've been very modest. I think you received some sort of an award as property assessor too.
Oh, let's see. Yeah, I was voted the favorite public official in the Ruthie's Award in Rutherford County, which is a surprise. I don't know that it's deserved. I would say that probably that would go to Ted Beatty, and I would give it to him in a heartbeat.
So it's very good when our elected officials work together and we can see government working. And with the rapport between you and Tev and the Beatty family for the community, and I do hope that many people will keep them in their prayers. We certainly have. And we're going to wrap up the show today on that note, but we do appreciate Mr. Rob Mitchell from the Rutherford County Property Assessor's Office here, and I'll put a little plug in. He'll probably want your vote in about 2 years to continue on. So maybe if he decides to run again, he'll announce it here live.
I'm running. I'll tell you right now, I am running. I love serving Rutherford County, and as long as the citizens of Rutherford County want me here doing this job, I'll do it.
Very good. You definitely have our support. And any other thing we can do for you here on Murfreesboro Live, please let us know. And we'll put this one in the books for the week. And here in a couple of seconds, the live button will go off, and we'll be free to return our